I understand that,
Right.
but Jesus is associated with religion and it's offending people.
No, it's not. Actually, it's not the religion. It's about eternal life.
Okay, but it's the same thing, okay? People have been offended, and like I said, all we are asking you is to take your shirt off. You can go to Macy's or we can leave.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a man who was kicked out, or at least they tried to kick him out of Mall of America over his Jesus Saves t-shirt. That's right. Some people got offended at his shirt for some reason, and he wasn't saying anything according to what he said. He was not saying anything. He was just in the mall with a Jesus Saves t-shirt on, and that was enough to get some complaints and to have this Paul Blart Mall cop confront him over the whole situation. Now, this is crazy. An elephant in the room. I know you're all thinking it. I'm going to say it. If that was a Muslim guy right there talking about Allah Akbar, artists and that, alhamdulillah, they would not touch him at all. They wouldn't even bother him. Like, all right, Mr. Ahmed, go about your business. That's just the reality. I'm not being racist. I'm not being religionist, if that's a word. I'm just calling it how I see it. I've never seen a Muslim person legitimately get harassed by any kind of security, law enforcement, anybody like that for simply just, I don't know, practicing their religion. Not even practicing it, just like a Jesus Saves t-shirt is enough to get pressed in the mall. Let's roll that clip. And there's also an article, and we'll see if we get any further details from the article. And of course, this video and the article will be in the description box, but let's go ahead and roll it.
I understand that,
Right.
but Jesus is associated with religion and it's offending people.
No, it's not. Actually,
And it's kind of hard to hear it, so maybe I'll stop it at certain points. He said, well, your shirt is linked to religion and it's offending people.
it's not the religion. It's about eternal life.
Okay, but it's the same thing, okay? People have been offended, and like I said, all we are asking you is to take your shirt off. You can go to Macy's or we can leave.
I didn't say anything though. I didn't speak. I didn't speak. I didn't say anything. Just went to Macy's.
Oh, so you got two Paul Blarts. Paul Blart, Mr. and Mrs. Paul Blart. See, I see the back of the shirt. See, the front of the shirt says Jesus Saves, but in the back it says Jesus, and then under it has the coexisting with all the religions, and that's crossed out. It says Jesus is the way, or the only way, pardon me. Again, if this was a Muslim guy talking that same thing about his religion, then nobody would be trying to press him. Nobody would try to go to the security and complain. The security wouldn't come up to him, try to get him out of there, because what would they say right away? Oh, you're racist. Although this guy's obviously not white, it doesn't matter. If you criticize Islam, you're seen as racist. It doesn't matter what race the actual practitioner or believer is. But speaking about Christianity, that kind of thing does not exist for it. That protection doesn't exist for it.
Okay, so again, I'm giving you your couple options.
Why are you
Take
making
the
this
shirt
so
off,
got the shirt?
and you can go to Macy's and you can do your shopping, or you can leave the mall. Okay, those are your only options right now.
So you're saying take the shirt off or leave them all. Those are your only options. You can't just have that shirt on. I mean, and my thing is that part of your policy at the mall where you can't have on religious shirts? I could see maybe if it was some cursing or some like foul language or something like that, but that's not what is going on there. Somebody or some people are offended because they don't like religion, or maybe they don't like the coexist being crossed out. So that's enough to get you kicked out the mall. I've never. I mean, I see people walking around Wally World with weed t-shirts on. Nobody really cares. But his shirt is enough to get him kicked out of the mall.
Okay.
Unless you want to be placed in another. If you want to shop here, you need to take that shirt off.
Well, there's more here. It kind of goes on. Of course, I'll link to this in the description. But there's also an article. Maybe they'll give some more context there. Maybe they'll tell if the guy was kicked out, because I'm reading that maybe he did get kicked out. Maybe he didn't. They tried to kick him out. Maybe they were unsuccessful. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. They were trying to say he was trespassing before. Now, and before I get too far into the next part of this video, let's go ahead and pull up the article. This is on New York Post. And again, this will be in the description. Man ordered to remove Jesus is the only way t-shirt at Mall of America. You know what it is. And here's a slide in the actual video that they posted on New York Post. And this right here says a spokesperson for the mall also told the Daily Mail that a week prior to the t-shirt incident, the man was issued a trespass for soliciting guests. Now, that's one thing, soliciting. If he's like trying to preach to him, trying to be a street preacher in the mall, trying to Bible thump, although I think that shouldn't really be an offense either, but that's something different other than wearing a t-shirt. And remember at the very beginning of the clip, at the very beginning of the video, I played it. He said, well, I didn't say anything. See, that's a key right there. If he was soliciting, that means he was talking to people, trying to get them to, but just being there with a Jesus Saves t-shirt and Jesus is the only way t-shirt is not the equivalent of soliciting. So what's their excuse this time? But I digress. And these are mall cops. I see his badge right here. I think that says Mall of America Security. So yes, I was correct when I called him Paul Blart Jr. Paul Blart, the OG Paul Blart is his Paul, but let's keep on going. A man inside the Mall of America last week was ordered by security guards to remove his t-shirt that read, Jesus is the only way, in a viral confrontation that has sparked online outrage. The man's bright yellow shirt read, Jesus saves on the front, Jesus is the only way on the back, with the coexist symbol, which represents peace among different religions, crossed out. So I guess that was the offensive part. And you know what? If that was not the offensive part, I wouldn't even be surprised. People just see Jesus right away and get offended. They don't even look too deep into what the rest of the shirt said. They just see the Jesus part. Automatically, they're offended. We continue. Security guards told the man that other shoppers in the mall in Bloomington, Minnesota, said they were offended by the shirt. And let's see. Jesus is associated with religion and it's offending people. One of the guards tells the man in the video from the January 7th incident. So religion offends people, or is it Jesus? And you know what? That statement right there kind of proves my point. That kind of proves it. It wasn't even about the coexist being crossed out. I could see that offending some people. Now, would it be enough of a violation to get kicked out of the mall? I think not. But I could see somebody being upset about that if they got one of those tattoos on their forehead or something. It's like, oh, you trying to disrespect me? You got a big, giant, crazy, random religious symbol in your back, and this guy has it crossed out on his t-shirt. It's like, look, I didn't get my whole back tattooed from top to the bottom, left to right, side to side, right to the from nothing. You are going to get this Paul Blart complaint. But to get kicked out of the mall because of that is absurd. But like I said, it wasn't even about that. It was about the Jesus part of the shirt that they were offended by. And that apparently is enough to get him kicked out of the mall, or at least for them to attempt to. Let's keep on going. The man tries to reason with the guards, telling them that he didn't speak or say anything to anyone in terms of preaching. Correct. So I guess the soliciting, like I said earlier, was about him trying to preach and be like a street preacher inside the mall. I've seen guys like that. Shout out to you guys out there doing the Lord's work, out there with a megaphone on the street corner, maybe even inside the mall or wherever you are, preaching the gospel. He wasn't doing that, though. Maybe he was doing it before, possibly, allegedly, but he was not doing that right now, according to him. He was removed from the mall for preaching the gospel on another occasion. Exactly. And these are just screenshots from the video. This one says they wanted him to leave because of his shirt. And then they got the front and the back. That's what I was talking about right there, to coexist. You see, you have, what's this? Is that the Muslim? You got the Star of David. You got some other random stuff. You got, what's that? Buddhism. You got a little bit of everything going on there. He's just like, nah, we're not going to coexist. Just one, Jesus, a spokesperson for the Mall of America. And you know what? Ain't that what they say? Allahu Akbar. That means Allah is the greatest, not God is the greatest. They misinterpret that. Allah meaning our God is the greatest. If I'm wrong about that, anybody out there that knows something about something, I'll let me know in the comments. But from what I know, that means Allah is the greatest, not God. But we continue. But that's fine though, right? That's totally fine. I'm not saying it shouldn't be, because if that's your religion, then practice it. But it should be equal. You should be able to say the same thing if you're a Christian or whatever religion you are. You should be able to say that your God is the greatest, because that is religious liberty. That's religious freedom. But when you try to crack down on one religion and give leeway to the other, now you're starting to become like a theocracy type situation. You're starting to show preference. And that's not what we do over here in the good old US of A. Okay. Religion and state is separated, but let's keep on going. A spokesperson for the Mall of America told Daily Mail that 1 week prior, he was given a 24-hour trespass for soliciting guests. Mall policy forbids picketing, demonstrating, soliciting, protesting, or petitioning on the premises. The security guard said the man's religious teas still counted as soliciting even if he was not actively preaching. That makes no sense at all. Quote, again, sir, it is religious soliciting. He told him in the video, there is no soliciting allowed on mall property, which is private property. Now, my question would be, if he didn't get nabbed for soliciting before, would his shirt be a problem now? I think the shirt was an excuse to get him out of there because they already had an issue with him, although he was not doing the thing that he was removed from the premises for. You see, that's kind of what's going on there. All right, of course, there's more here. People saying they should sue. Hopefully something happens as a result of that. Maybe a lawsuit might be the best thing. It might be, because as I close, I want to say this. If we're going to have certain rules, they need to be followed appropriately, and it shouldn't be abused. I think what happened here was he was in the mall before preaching to people. That is against the rules. They kicked him out. He came back wearing a shirt, not preaching, but they still kicked him out because they figured he was still up to his old tricks. He started preaching again. Maybe it was a preemptive strike, for lack of better words, or they didn't like him at all, being there doing what he was doing. People were complaining, making him feel uncomfortable. That might have been what's going on. Not saying it's right, but I'm trying to just rationalize it from their point of view, but it's still not the right thing to do. And again, if this was a Muslim guy or a Jewish guy, then this wouldn't even be a thing. It wouldn't even be a thing. But if you're Christian, all of a sudden it is a thing. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what's going on here with the man with the Jesus Saves t-shirt being kicked out of the Mall of America? Was it right? Was it wrong? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I'm at. I think this is more of a retaliatory type thing because he kicked out before because of soliciting the preaching. So they're like, all right, you're going to come in here with that shirt on trying to be funny. How about this? Get kicked out one more time. That's probably what happened there, in my opinion. He probably saw the same security guards, the same Paul Blarts and Paul Blartettes in there before, and they did the same thing they did previously. Oh, you back in here with a shirt on now, trying to preach silently? Okay, we're going to show you. Here's an example. But now, unfortunately for the security guards, this video done went viral. So we'll see how the whole thing plays out. It may not work out too well in their favor in terms of keeping their job, or Mall of America in terms of keeping their money, because it might be a big settlement at the end of all of this. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.